Hey everyone, Steve Vincent here, Vincent Investments, VIPidaho.com. My significant other and I run a real estate company, and we have two assisted living facilities. I think I've shared this before. I want to dive more into the real estate side. I've done a lot of videos on other things, on how to develop, start, being consistent, thinking big, all that kind of stuff. But um, our real passion is real estate, has been forever, and it always will be. It's just a great way to uh, obviously make money, but two, to impact a family or an individual on a profound level. It's one of the biggest investments that anybody can make in their life is buying real estate. Primary home, I know there's videos out there talk about, some people say don't do that, that's a bad investment. The thing is, buying a home um, is an experience that kind of it makes you nervous. It's exciting. It can be frustrating. It can be high anxiety filled. Um, but you have to think of this: real estate is a powerful way to build wealth. It's a powerful way to anchor yourself into a home, to raise a family, build communities, and know your neighbors. Um, you get appreciation. It's a great way for you to build equity, sweat equity as well. There's lots of really, really great benefits to buying real estate. So when you're on your journey looking for a home, you have to ask yourself, is this a short-term deal like 2 years or less, or is this a long-term deal, 2 years or more? And the reason I'm saying that is because when we look for real estate, I look at the house. What am I buying it for? Is it an investment property? Maybe a short-term rental? So I got to make sense of the deal. If I'm going to buy my primary home, and let's say I've got a starter home, if you will, I can rent that out, make a little bit of money, and then I can go to the bigger house, caveating with the first house, that maybe the starter home, it's not going to bring you a ton of cash flow every month. They just don't. Um, they're a dime a dozen. Lots of people have them, and they're not unique to the marketplace. However, if you haven't looked around or noticed, there's a housing shortage across the country. So if you price your rent correctly in the marketplace, it will rent. Then the issue comes down to who's going to manage it, right? That's the big question. Who's going to manage this property? Well, you can. I would suggest you do it on your own to get used to what it means to be a property manager. And then down the road, once you understand what it takes to maintain the property outside of your primary home, then I would say maybe hire a company with an expectation of what you want and what they're going to charge you for that, and make sure the rent covers that so you're not out of pocket. But what it does is it introduces you to the world of investing in real estate so that you can understand how this game works. And as you get more confident, you can go bigger. But if you're trying to build wealth as a young person, and you're trying to, maybe you've got your 401ks, you're doing all that, but you want to get into a way of building wealth, that's where you start. You start by buying your first home, um, and you rent it out. I know it sounds simple, it's not, but that's the simplest way to go. For a while, we rented for a while, and we rented our own homes out. And that seemed to work really, really well until our ambitions got bigger, our vision for what we wanted got bigger, and then we decided that the houses had fulfilled their need for our needs financially, and we sold them both. I don't regret it, because those sales allowed us to go to the next step, which brought our life up to another level of where we were headed. So you have to have a purpose for real estate. You have to have a purpose of what you want your money to do and grow. I'm not saying that to avoid the stock market. I'm in the market as well, but you have to know what you're buying in the stock market, just like you have to know what you're buying in a rental or an investment property. So you look at schools, you look at churches, you look at grocery stores, You want to look at the proximity or the location of your property you're about to buy to make sure that it will hold its value and you can attract renters that, hey man, we're like what, quarter mile, half a mile away from stores and stuff. This is a really good location and the price is just perfect. This is the house for us. So you have to kind of think of it that way, even if you don't think of it that way, because when you do decide to make your next move, who would want to rent a house in the middle of nowhere where there's no support? Now, if you're self-sufficient and you've got land and you're a farmer, that's another discussion. But when you're investing in real estate and you want the real estate to work for you, you have to kind of think the location where it's at so that people aren't spending time on the road, which they don't want to do, to go get food, entertainment, uh, religious stuff through a church, whatever they're doing. They want that house somewhat close so that they can get to and from fairly easy. The job is another piece of it too. You got to look at where you're working. But for the most part, buying real estate doesn't have to be uh, super difficult. But you have to know what you want to do with it. In our case, and most other cases in the world, in this country, when people start out, they start out by buying a small home that they can afford, and then they get to the point where they want to either sell it and they want to take that capital gains tax free once you've been in it over 2 years and put that into another house, which you can do. But if you really want to build wealth, you have to think 3 or 4 steps or houses down the road. How do I want to take this equity and make it work for me down the road? So, 2-car garage, probably a good idea to start out with. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, decent yard, not nothing too extravagant, but decent yard to get you started. Heck, you may be to the point where I've got cash to pay for it, so go a little bit bigger and you pay cash. So now when you do rent it, you don't have to worry about how much money you just say this is the market value and then you stick it out. So I'm going to be putting more videos together on real estate because for me that's where it's at. We're going to multifamily. I think that's the next step for us and the game changer for us. And I just love real estate, and I'm going to put some more videos out there on it. I think it's the right way to go. I think it's the best way to go. Do I believe in 401ks? I don't. Not to say that they're bad, but you can only put so much in per month, and the market goes up and it goes down. And to rely solely on that for retirement, it is what it is. I think if you're younger, you probably don't care, but as you get older, you start thinking about time and how much money is in there. You start thinking about rate of return on your dollar. How much of an ROI can I get on this thing? So you start getting more smarter or a little more picky on what your money can do for you. Versus when you're younger, you're in the market, you're happy, you got a house, you're happy, you're not really worried about that stuff. But the younger folks, that if they can think 10 years ahead earlier, man, they're so much further ahead in the game when they get 10 years older or 5 years older, because the steps that they've already made and decisions they've made, propelling them to a life of success and financial freedom. At the end of the day, and I'll share this more as we go along, financial freedom isn't about how much money you got. It's the freedom that you have. It's, are you married to your bills? Do you have to work to pay your bills off? That's a form of slavery, in my opinion. So, without getting digressed, real estate, purpose. How do you make sense of the deal? And what is the truth? What are you really trying to accomplish long term with real estate? Hope you have a great Memorial weekend. Thanks for watching. Please share, please subscribe, and we'll talk to you soon.